Good afternoon. I'm going to make a few comments up front, and then I'll open it up for questions. So first, I just came from the National Governors Association meeting this past weekend and would love to share a quick policy update. Oregon is doing some amazing cutting-edge policy making, and the nation is definitely watching. Folks were very excited about Oregon's new motor voter and the promising results that we've seen with the bill now being implemented for a month at this point. Secondly, we were the first state in the nation to pass all components of the Fair Shot agenda, which include paid sick leave, retirement security, and the minimum wage. Folks were also very excited, frankly, about our 3-tier minimum wage that addresses regional economic differences. I think there's some discussion about whether this might be a model for other states to replicate that have regional differences like we do in Oregon. I also met with Secretary of the Interior, Sally Jewell, and folks from U.S. DOJ, Department of Justice, to thank them for their efforts on Harney County, and of course, request their assistance for reimbursement for ongoing costs incurred by the state, the county, and the Sheriff's Association. I did have an opportunity to speak with the president. I think you may have seen the CNN report. He spent quite a bit of time with the governors across the nation and answered many questions. I did have an opportunity to speak with the president personally and expressed our gratitude for the federal work in both Harney County and, of course, in Douglas County that is still ongoing. That's NGA. In terms of other pressing issues in front of the state, as you know, Bullseye Glass has voluntarily suspended its use of cadmium, arsenic, and chromium. As of yesterday, DEQ announced that Bullseye has also committed to stop using arsenic indefinitely. The company has engaged an external expert to evaluate and recommend pollution control devices that they can add to their manufacturing processes. I have submitted to the legislature an additional budget request on behalf of DEQ to bolster its resources to investigate concerns about air toxics, and in particular, toxic metals. My full request was a $2.5 million budget request. The funds will support additional monitoring sites, data analysis, and project oversight, and allow DEQ to expand its efforts statewide, so it would not just be limited to the Portland metropolitan area. I did have an opportunity to speak with EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy over the weekend. We followed up with a telephone call yesterday to ask for immediate action and continuing resources. The situation here shines a light on what is actually a national problem, identifying and addressing hot spots, particularly around other glass manufacturers throughout the United States. I have directed DEQ to engage its emergency rulemaking authority to expedite processes for identifying and addressing hot spots where toxics may have accumulated. DEQ is proceeding with air and soil testing and is committed to releasing results once confirmed to the public as soon as possible. DEQ is also working very closely with OHA to help interpret test results so that community members can make informed decisions about their health. And then lastly, as I think the Oregon legislature is drawing to a close for this short session, though that we may have several days left, I just wanted to share with you some of my impressions thus far. Obviously, raising the minimum wage was one of my top priorities, and I'm very grateful to House and Senate colleagues for their swift action on the bill. I particularly would like to thank Senate President Peter Courtney, the Speaker Tina Kotek, as well as the Chair on the Senate side, Mike Dembrow, for their action. No Oregonian working full-time should live in poverty, and this bill is an important step in the right direction. My bills to strengthen transparency and accountability, including lobbying reform and public records advocates, are making good progress, as is the legislation to strengthen the Office of the Small Business Advocate. This bill in particular will help state government add value to Oregon's overall economic enterprise statewide, and I'm cautiously optimistic about its passage. I did sign the first bill of the session yesterday, speed limit bill for increase for certain parts of the state. I think it was more of a technical fix. And I expect to see more as the horses finish see the finish line and pick up their pace. So overall, I think it's fair to say that folks have been working really hard in this building and working hard to do what's right by the people of Oregon. Happy to answer your questions. Thanks for the opportunity.
How receptive are you to giving tax credits to small businesses to make up for the cost of minimum wage?
I think you're talking about what we would consider as steps to encourage businesses to hire both young and workers without a particular skill set. I have tasked two of my policy advisors to begin to put together a work group to tackle this issue during the interim. It's been on the table for discussion. I'm certainly open and receptive to that discussion.
Governor, if a bill is amended this session to include some of those tax credits and it makes its way to your desk, how would you treat that alongside the current minimum wage bill?
Well, Dennis, as you know, we like to thoroughly review every single bill before I commit to it, but I certainly support the concept. It was on the table that we negotiated around before the legislature met.
Has the federal government given you any indication that they will reimburse for the costs in Harney County?
The federal authorities that I met with were not clear about what direction that we should take, but they're certainly willing to provide assistance as we move forward on that. We also have our congressional delegation working on this issue as well. I think it's really important in a particular situation like this where the community was under siege for over 40 days and frankly is still very much in the healing and recovery process. When a community like this did the right thing, that they should not also have to pay the cost of the damage that happened.
Governor, on housing legislation, the Speaker worked with industry lobbyists and advocates to negotiate a 4-bill package. That package has begun moving through. That's a promise the Speaker can make, but obviously you make your own decisions on signing bills. Were you part of those discussions, and do you feel bound by that 4-bill guarantee that the Speaker made lobbyists?
Well, certainly in terms of the legislative process, 4 bills is a lot, and we don't have a ton of time left. I have been very clear. I support additional resources, funding for rental assistance and homelessness prevention. We have a policy bill that is in fact moving forward that will assist our agency and provide the tools we need to develop the package from the last legislative session. And frankly, I think it makes sense to give local jurisdictions the tools they need to make affordable housing more available and accessible to more Oregonians.
Your office has taken a neutral position on the Wolf bill. If that ends up on your desk after it hits the floor, what do you expect to do with it?
I appreciate the question. I just want to clarify because there has been some confusion about the bill. It is not my bill, and my staff certainly assisted legislators with drafting. That's what they do in this process, providing information as requested. But the bill is not my bill. The bill is still moving forward, and we will make a decision once the bill comes to my desk and we have an opportunity to thoroughly review it.
Governor, can you tell us what the state is doing now and going forward with the toxic impact on the environment and in those hotspots, and what you'd like to see the state do for the homeowners who believe their health may already have been impacted?
Well, I appreciate the question. The Oregon Health Authority has taken a role to inform the community that lives in those particular areas. There's extensive information available both on the Oregon Health Authority website as well as the Multnomah County Public Health Department. It's my understanding the Oregon Health Authority is willing to provide support and assistance to families that cannot afford the testing, and that seems appropriate to me. My job in this situation is to hold state agencies accountable. That's exactly what I'm doing, and to make sure that the public is safe.
Governor, the Charleston loophole bill that was amended in judiciary passed the House this week. Are you encouraging the Senate to pass this bill? Is this something you want to see move toward your desk?
Well, the concept is common sense, and I certainly support the concept. I have not had those specific conversations with Senate leadership at this time.
Would you support the renewables bill without the buyer amendment?
You mean Amendment -41 or whatever number we're on? Look, in terms of the RPS 2.0, what I'm very pleased about is that stakeholders on their own came together around a proposal and to solve problems in Oregon, and I think that's a really good thing. My criteria for signing the bill, and it is still very much a work in progress, are to make sure that it doesn't have too burdensome of impact on Oregon ratepayers, including our businesses, and that it continues to move Oregon in the right direction. And in my mind, that means moving us towards meeting our greenhouse gas reduction goals.
Governor, PUC commissioners said some things about their communications with your office in emails. They had some harsh things to say about the bill, but they also said they couldn't get meetings with you or with your chief of staff. How do you respond to those claims in those emails?
Well, the PUC certainly had plenty of time to comment on the legislation. As you know, they were in email contact with legislators. They held a hearing prior to the legislative session starting, I think, which is fairly rare for them to do that, as well as my understanding the commissioners have had opportunity to testify and speak directly with legislators. So I think they've had ample opportunity to have their views be known to the legislature.
Maybe one more question.
Oh, are you expecting any weekend sessions?
Oh, I don't know the answer to that. I do think the Speaker, Speaker Kotek, notified the House members that they should be prepared to work weekends. So I think that's certainly a possibility.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.